From seasoned explorers to first-time trekkers, For Every Adventure is your outdoor guide.
Welcome to For Every Adventure, proudly brought to you by Outdoor Warehouse. Hey, Chanel, how you doing?
Kyle, great, and you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's wonderful.
Excited for another episode. Today, we're climbing into the world of Campfire Cuisine, outdoor cooking made simple.
Oh, you make it sound so good already.
Yes, I am excited. I am of the belief that if you're going camping, you need to use wood. You need to do a campfire cook. It just feels more in line with the whole idea of camping.
Yeah, we know you're a braai kind of guy.
Braai, every day, breakfast,
Yes.
lunch, dinner, doesn't matter. It is the best way to make food.
There are other ways, though. I think we'll find out more today.
I think we definitely will. That's why we have a fantastic guest. So his name is Isaak Haarhoff, a man with a lot of cooking experience. He cooked on yachts, on lodges. He spent time in India. This man knows what he's talking about. So I'm quite excited to climb in and just find out what he knows, what he suggests when it comes to outdoor cooking. And it's not just the idea of outdoor cooking. It's gear you can use to make it easier. It is recipe ideas, a few fan favorites maybe, and of course, an interesting story or two to share.
No one better than the professional chef to tell us more about it.
Exactly. So let's climb in.
Adventure enthusiasts, we've got a thrilling chance for you to win a 500 Rand Outdoor Warehouse gift voucher. Simply listen to this episode of For Every Adventure. Find the answer to the question in the description and DM us your answer on our social media channels. It's that easy. And don't forget to check out future episodes of For Every Adventure for even more chances to win big. Outdoor Warehouse, for every adventure. So we're joined by Isaak Haarhoff, the professional chef. He's currently in the beautiful town of Hermanus. Hi, Izaak.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for being here, Isaak. We're really excited for the conversation when it comes to outdoor cooking. And the best place to start, I think, is the essentials, because you need the right tools for the job. Mm-hmm. So, Isaak, what are the must-have tools for outdoor cooking?
Okay, so that depends on whether it's going to be like a camping trip or you just... That's up to you. And then
controversial, Isaak.
And so then just those little portable braais are always nice and convenient and easy to sort of manage the fire afterwards. And then if you're going camping, then you can be a bit more elaborate and sort of take your fridge and your potjiekos and all of those stuff. And the most important, I think, is a nice good grid and a great dry pot.
Yes.
And then your spice, obviously.
Very, very important. So I was thinking there are different types of camping trips, right? So you have like a multi-day camping trip where maybe you just hike to a spot, spend the night, hike to the next spot. Then the amount of tools you can take or the gear you can take is very limited because of the weight you're going to be carrying. In that situation, what would you suggest?
Okay, so then if you've got a good mate that's willing to help you carry a bit of load, then I would say one of you definitely needs to take a small little, you get tiny portable braais, which is great.
Yeah.
And then what I usually use if we hike up to the dams and stuff like that, I've got a backpack with a sort of portable stove.
Okay.
And then it takes a gas canister. And then that just fits in with your pan and your lighter and all of those stuff, even your spices and oil. And that is very easy to manage.
Okay.
So that works very well.
Which is easier, though, Izaak? The portable braai or the gas setup? In terms of the weight you're carrying and to pack it, which one would you say is easier?
I would say the gas one is easier, but you get which is very small, so it folds down flat.
Oh.
So you put it in like sort of a file in the back, which is also not bad.
Okay.
Okay. And also, At the risk of this being a silly question, let's say you're not taking a gas stove or something and you're solely going to rely on what you're going to gather on the trip. Is that something that's quite common when you do a multi-day hike? You go, all right, I'm going to go find some wood and we're going to use that to braai. Or is that just not practical?
It's a bit more, how can I say, difficult because it's if the wood is not dry and that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, that's more like survivalist territory, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if you're gathering wood for your braai at the campsite, you're probably not even going to use blitz. You're just going to have some method of starting the fire.
You know what, Carl? I saw at Outdoor Warehouse a really nice axe for you that you can go and buy for yourself.
Okay.
And you can go chop the wood.
I don't want to.
I can see you doing that. Like,
Yes. Yeah, I'll chop wood at home. I think I'll maybe, when I go do a camping trip, I'll take someone along who can carry 2 20-kilogram bags of kameel wood. And
there we go. That's an idea.
maybe the way to go. What's the difference between a campfire gas and a compact cooking setup?
So I'm not a very big gas fan, to be quite honest. So I always try and do like proper fires.
Yes.
That's just my preference.
Okay.
It should be everyone's. Sorry, I'm not going to bash anything today. Okay, well, that's good to hear. I think I totally agree with you.
There's a level of convenience when it comes to the gas.
No, it's got its place.
Think if you're in the caravan and
breakfast. You don't want to get up and start a fire and wait for the coals. You can switch it on and have a nice bacon and eiertjie in the oggend.
Well, that also depends because I'm the kind of guy, if I wake up in a campsite, the first thing I do is start the fire because kettles are not allowed. So you have to heat the water on the fire and it just sets up the day.
Oh, man, I like you so much. This is what I like to hear.
That's true. It sets the scene.
Yeah. Let's chat a bit about the specific products you can use. So which specific skottel braai would you suggest, or what compact gas stove would you suggest we get at Outdoor Warehouse?
So Izaak is the go-to, obviously, when it comes to skottel braai. And then they've, I don't know the brand name, but it's a little suitcase. Fussy thing that if you open it, you get a double or single sort of gas hob, and then it just flips open on the side, and then you add the canister in there.
Yes, I think it is Izaak. Yeah, it's also a Izaak one. Yeah, that's a very nice one.
All right, cool.
Yes, they're quite good.
And listen, if it's optional when it comes to me, I think, but you're probably going to have to use a few utensils. Obviously, the braai tang is there, but you get those. Maybe you should cut your steak with a fork and a knife, right? Are there cool sets 100%. You can get that for that? I mean, you can just take the piece of meat in your hand and eat it like that, but it's going to be frowned upon.
Yeah.
I think what makes the cooking set so cool these days is even like the bowls, and there's some of the pots that you can literally like fold into itself.
Yeah.
Like everything's made to save space.
And a good cutting board, very important.
Yeah, cutting board, the cutlery sets and everything. It's lightweight but durable. So that's good. Yeah, I think we're lucky when it comes to that. You don't have to carry around all of these like, you know, those like steel mugs. Jy weet daai tipe van bekers, is nie meer nodig nie.
Camping vibes.
You need to keep the meat fresh though, Izaak. What would you suggest?
Yes, a great camp fridge. Yes. There's such a big variety. But I prefer the fridge and freezer dual side one.
Okay.
So then one you can take ice, and if you stay for a long time, then sort of keep some meat frozen if you'd like.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of frozen meat, but the other one on the fridge side.
Yeah, that helps a lot. But you're right. You're probably going to have to if it's a long trip. I mean, chicken, definitely freeze that if it's going to be a while, I reckon. Depends on the meat. And then obviously you can have a few like a fire starters to get the fire going. And then do you think it's necessary to have like a kitchen cabinet or like fold-up tables? Well, a fold-up table makes sense, but do you need a cabinet?
Definitely. So when we go camping, I've got a separate tent, which is like a kitchen setup.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I got to say, if we go camping, then I've even got a deep fryer at the campsite. So.
I can just imagine your spice rack, Izaak. Like, it's very extensive, even on your camping trips.
Yes. No, I must say there's not a lot that I can't do in the campsite. And it's also a social thing, right?
Yeah.
We all sit together and help out and chat.
Okay.
Have a nice cold beer or some wine and fires going, and even the kids pull in and help.
So it's not like the bear vibe where you have a cooking tent and yes, chef, no chef, service. No, much more laid back.
You know what? I think that's so important to get everyone involved, because that's one thing that I, how can I say this? Don't really enjoy much about entertaining. It's when you separate from everyone else because you're preparing and everyone else is having this great time around the fire and you're stuck somewhere like chopping something. And it's just that I don't enjoy that at all. I want to be there where the action is.
But chef's going to tell you to prep.
Yes, I suppose you need to do everything beforehand. But I think if you can get everyone involved in a setup like this, it's so much more fun and get everyone together.
Another good thing to do is to sort of one meal is this couple's turn, then this couple, everyone makes turns.
Yeah.
Everyone gets the time to chop.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But I think my tip, I'm no chef, but I think my tip would probably be maybe prep somewhere in the morning, take an half an hour, cut the onions and whatever you need to use, prep it, store it, and then it's ready to use in the evening. Do you have any cool pro tips for us when it comes to maybe like a clever cooking hack or a smoother way to set up the whole thing?
So what we usually do is to make like pre-salad, like potato salads and all of those sort of stuff, make it beforehand, then carry that with, so that takes off a big load. And then I think that the best thing you can do is the menu planning, to do the menu so that it's not a lot of work, but it's like festive things. Like there's nothing better than a potjie, and all just a normal like funky steak, and it's just planning the correct meals and making sure that it's not work, but it's still amazing.
Oh man, you're making me so hungry. And the tough part now with this interview is next up we're going to be chatting about camp meals and recipes. I had an interesting conversation with one of the graphic designers here in the building just now about a braaibroodjie. He had a very interesting recipe that he put together. But we'll probably get to a few interesting recipes as we go along. Let's chat first to the go-to meals that are easy and tasty and just work well when you go camping.
Okay. So the thing that springs to mind first is we do a pot, which is incredible. So you start with your base of your carrots, onions, celery leeks, and all of that.
All right.
And then you take your lamb separately and you braai it like you're going to braai the meat to eat.
Okay.
Then you add it to that pot.
Wait. So you braai the meat separately and then add it to the pot? Nice.
Then add it to the pot. Because remember the Maillard reaction, which is browning of the meat, that is where the flavor comes from.
Okay.
So then you add that back to the pot and then you cook it with some stock, and then you can add your herbs and spices. And then you add your corn, quorum. I don't know what's it called in English, maize or something.
Yeah. I think that's it.
And then you add that, and then some stock. And when it's nearly done, then you add some cream on top, and then you let that go on a low heat and sort of cook that down. And then you add grated cheese on top.
Oh my word!
It sounds crazy, but it tastes amazing.
It sounds amazing.
How long do you cook it for? If it's now already braaied on the fire.
As possible.
Yeah, because with potjiekos you want the meat to be soft, right?
Yeah.
So that I would say about 2 hours of cooking. Then you add your corn. Maize, sorry, not corn. So and then the maize takes about an hour. But it's an easy thing to do, and it doesn't require a lot of attention.
Yeah. All right, so
sounds incredible.
Minimal prep, not a lot of cleanup. It really does sound good.
Izaak, that sounds amazing. I'm all for minimal prepping and easy, and there's always people to clean up, but it has to be easy. So I want to ask you more, if you have any more ideas for us in terms of like one pot wonders or easy recipes around the fire.
Okay, so obviously everyone's got their go-to potjie dish, but another good thing that we do is like the one pan wonder, which is like a paella that we do that over the fire is also super easy. It just requires a bit of attention, but that is something that's incredible. And then pasta potjiekos are quite
Like a
popular
biltong
at the moment.
pasta potjie.
Yes. So that's like you make your bolognese and that can sort of cook away. The traditional bolognese is cooked for hours.
Yeah.
So then you can let that go slowly, and then as soon as you're happy and you're ready to eat, then you can add a bit more liquid and then add your pasta and you cook it in. And then when it's done, then you add cheese on top.
You see, now that's something that I've never thought about doing on the
adding
fire.
adding the cheese on top.
No, I just mean like a pasta dish. I've never tried that
really
on fire.
It's really good. I'm still stuck at the paella. I'm imagining myself sitting by the ocean with the seafood paella and just like climbing in. Oh, man.
Gear up with expert advice from real-world adventurers with the For Every Adventure podcast.
But let's move on to more elaborate feasts. Move from the one-pot wonders or the one-pan wonders to the Christmas camping feast.
Sure.
Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so we actually did a good one, I think it was 2 years back, with a couple of families. And then obviously there's like 3 different potjiekos. And then we've even got a spit braai going and a lamb rib. And then the fryers, there's fried potatoes and amazing salads. We are a big fan of salads and various salads. And for the potjiekos, like the one we would do, an Indian one, and then the other one like your oxtail, and then like a chicken potjiekos. So we made sure that we cover all the proteins and all the sides. Nice. And then also on the fire, we make a lot of pudding, like you do apple crumble, and you get those small potjiekos, which are not small, they're big, but they're shallow.
Yeah.
And that works amazing for making desserts and stuff.
Yes, okay.
Just again, this is all being prepared at the campsite.
At the campsite.
Sounds really delicious. All of them sound like crowd pleasers, but what's your go-to crowd pleaser when it comes to meals at the campsite?
I have to say Indian.
Okay.
Like a good curry, especially like a butter chicken or like a rogan bosh or something like that. And I make a very mean pork vindaloo, which is incredible.
I wish you could see Carl's face at the moment.
Every now and again, I just get up from my seat and stare at the people in the control room of the studio, just rubbing my belly.
Sounds amazing. I think for me, I just want Izaak to come along.
Why? Yeah.
I'll watch you make all these wonderful things. That sounds amazing.
Listen, guys, I want to go back to a very controversial topic, and that's braaibroodjies. I know this is now in the prep, but I want to find out what the ultimate braaibroodjie of each person here is. Now, my controversial take on a braaibroodjie is that simpler is better to me. I don't want like tomato and onion on there.
What?
I'm ready to experiment, but I want a cheese festival and maybe like a little biltong if you want to get creative. So like, I don't know. Give me ideas.
Well, I think the first thing is if you go for the classics, which I've seen now among all my friends, it's do you take chutney or no chutney?
Chutney. Yeah, chutney. I almost said chutney or gladney.
I'm also for it.
Yeah.
I'm actually against
Ach, nee.
Are you against the chutney?
Cheese, onion, tomato.
Okay. Chanel, do you have like a creative braaibroodjie?
That was my creative braaibroodjie.
What, onion and tomato?
No, just this little bit of chutney. Like you must wonder, what's on this? Is it chutney? Isn't it? Like it must just, Just a little bit of chutney.
Okay, I get
that's it for me, like nothing else.
No, don't dip it in the chutney. I agree.
Yeah.
Just a laagie.
And the thing is, you need thinly sliced onions, thinly sliced tomato.
Oh,
I may be open for it, but I don't know. Anyway,
you know what is good for vegetarians as well that we did the other day? So you take your aubergine. It's sort of a veg that I think people don't use enough.
Yeah.
Then you just poke a couple of holes and you just chuck it into the fire. And then you turn it and you sort of toast it completely.
Yeah.
As if you would think you're burning it. And you throw it into a bowl, cover it with cling wrap, and just leave it there for half an hour. Then peel off the skin and then you sort of chop it up. It's like the smoky, incredible texture, almost like bone marrow texture.
Okay.
And then you add that with some mozzarella and rocket. Rocket is also quite good in a braaibroodjie.
Okay.
Afterwards, when you just quickly open it and pop it in there.
Okay.
That sounds really interesting.
That does. And it's just making me hungry as we go.
We'll have to try it.
Again, the right tools for the job necessary. Get a few lightweight pans. Heat-proof gloves can make a big difference. And as Chanel mentioned, there needs to be a cleanup. So a collapsible wash basin, is that something you would suggest?
That's a must.
Okay. All right. Proper spice containers.
I was saying there's people to help out, but you know who ends up
we are
cleaning?
the people.
The mom.
Yes. The mom. No.
The mom.
You can make terms. If Izaak, if the one couple makes food, the other couple cleans it up.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's the deal.
Gents will usually be a bit deep in the liquids, and the wives end up taking over.
Can't help that, can we?
No.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've chatted about planning, prep, and storage, but just let's climb in a bit deeper when it comes to that. How to prep at home to make campsite cooking easier. Is there a lot of prep you do away from the site to make the feast better or easier?
So you get those containers which has got this multi sort of spaces in them.
Okay.
So if you really want to, you can do a lot of chopping at home. But it's, as I said, it's part of the fun. And like the kids will peel the potatoes, this one will chop the onions, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do too much, but I understand like something like a potato salad or something like that, or pasta salad. Do that at home and bring it along. For me personally, but there is definitely ways for people who don't want to do a lot of chopping and stuff over there.
Yeah.
I would suggest those multi-space containers.
Okay. I suppose you really have to think things through. And I mean, Izaak, do you have lists, or do you just go through each recipe in your mind and, it's like prep beforehand? Because this is one thing for me. I've never actually tried this, like, a real
cooking.
camp. No, like cooking at a campsite. And I would be so stressed that I forget this and forget that. And like,
I know you are a pro worsbraaier.
let's tell everybody all the time. Yes, that's about my skill level. Thank you very much, Kyle. On the fire. I've actually progressed a bit though. Okay.
Minute steaks.
I'm on chicken already, okay.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not an easy one.
Is that an easy one?
No, it's not.
No, I hate braaiing chicken. I love the taste of it, but I'm always so unsure about it. But that's not the point. What did you ask?
No, I just wanted to know, like, do you work off a list? Like, do you have this day, this recipe, and I need all of these ingredients and spices?
Yes.
Or is yours...
So it's very important to plan, obviously. So what we usually do is if we're, for instance, like 4 couples going camping together, then I do the shopping.
Okay.
Because I make lists. Today we'll do this, tomorrow that, and so on. And then I know exactly what I need, because there's nothing worse than if this couple brings this and that one brings that, and then there's always wastage and too much. So it's very important to plan the amounts sort of that you're going to need.
Yeah.
And for space.
Yeah, space-wise. And then also what I think about is how to pack all of these ingredients safely. I mean, you don't want, if there's like glass containers and things, like how do you make sure all your spices are like safe and nothing will break on the way?
So our trailers has got those sponge containers which everything fits in. And you get those little suitcases where your plates and everything, glasses goes in as well.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, so and then again, when you're camping, Outdoor Warehouse sells these, it's like closets and kitchen cabinets and stuff that you just pop open and you've got a couple of shelves.
Yeah.
And it works brilliantly.
So we've got the coolers, we're keeping the ingredients fresh, we're sealing them in containers. When it comes to storage solutions, it says you're hanging food when in wildlife areas.
Yeah, don't you watch these? Yeah, don't you watch these outdoor shows? Like if there are
you making
baboons,
bolt? Or are you there for like a month?
Yeah.
if there are baboons and all kinds of wild animals, you need to like hang it up in the trees. Otherwise, they're gonna come for your food.
I'm pretty sure baboons
The
climb a tree.
baboons can go and
Oh, yeah, of course. Who are you hiding it from in the tree then? The leopard. Sorry.
I don't think I'm going to braai in a big 5 sanctuary. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about hanging food in the trees.
Okay.
I'll take the risk, Kyle.
All right. Sounds good. So, all right, we've got everything contained and sealed and kept fresh, but there's always going to be some waste when it comes to cooking outdoors. How do you manage that?
So that's what comes back to planning.
Okay.
Like I'll figure out how many onions I need, how much garlic. Look, there's always like an odd lettuce and a bit of cheese, but then you've got some plastic containers and your fridge is there, and then you just bring it back out.
Okay, that makes sense. And the wonderful thing about cooking outdoors or going camping is the lack of control you have sometimes about your when it comes to your environment. So there are going to be some not so favorable conditions you're going to have to cook in. And listen, if it's raining, if there's thunder and lightning, you have to still braai. It's very important, according to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what when it comes to cooking in the wind or the rain or even extreme heat, what should we watch out for?
Okay, so all of us always has this one friend that likes, if the fire is big, he wants to have more.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Let's go.
usually there's one of them around, so you just keep the fire as big as possible.
Okay.
And this one mate specifically of mine, he pulled like a whole tree when it was raining, and
Man.
it was quite a fire. But we just take coal from there, because if you're fighting against the rain, you're gonna just have to keep that fire hot, so that you got some coals to use.
Okay.
And then you get these nets that you sort of put to the side that makes like a boundary wall, and that helps a lot.
Okay.
And then it's going to be some poor guy with an umbrella trying to hold it over you while you die.
You know,
Designated umbrella holder.
I hear all of this survival and it's fun. And
It is fun.
can't you just, as backup, have like a heat and eat
Don't you dare.
meal? I'm just asking.
Moving on. Moving on.
Are you really going to keep this fire going in
Yes.
the rain and someone stands with an
course.
umbrella? Okay. All right. It's fine.
That's part of the fun again. There's nothing better than being cold and getting into a leaking wet.
Sounds great.
It's nothing like
You know what
it.
I'm going to do after this? I'm going to find a place where it rains and just start a braai.
Okay.
But listen, with all seriousness, when it does come to fire, you need to be safe. I mean, just be responsible with the fire pit. Obviously, have an extinguisher, I reckon, and just follow weather warnings, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important.
And you
No,
can,
it's just a bucket of water for if
or sand.
stuff gets out of hand.
Yeah. I think that's definitely, just be conscious. Just it is a lot of fire safety is just thinking logically about the situation. So when you're conscious about the conditions and you use your logic to sort of determine if a fire is a good idea or not, what is a good alternative to a fire?
So, firstly, I think if the conditions are bad and it's dry and you are scared for like a veld fire, I would suggest like your fire pit, build it up a bit up more with some rocks or something, and make sure the area around it is super clean. And then if you really have to make a fire, like this is probably the only time that I would say this, but then you can use some briquettes or charcoal. Otherwise, you can just go to your gas stove.
Yeah. I can see how, again, I'm with you. Maybe briquettes is a better idea if the conditions aren't favorable. But only in emergencies, Chanel.
Only in that stage.
What
Okay.
I've used it, it's quite easy.
What are you doing?
No, I just want to tell you that they are, I love a fire, okay?
Yeah. You're embarrassing me in front of our new friend.
But like Izaak mentioned earlier, if you want to just go down to the beach and quickly braaibroodjie for the
Don't
kids.
go down to the beach to quickly braai.
No, I do. So then you take your little braai with the charcoal and you make a little thingy there. And it's easy and it's simple.
Okay.
You don't have to wait for the fire to sort of burn out and all of that.
You convinced, Isaak?
I hear what she's saying. But I'm not sold.
Not sold. Okay.
All right. I think a fun next thing we can do is a few quick fire questions. Don't think, just answer.
Okay.
All right. Chanel, are you going to ask the questions?
No, it's your idea.
Okay, fine. All right. Izaak, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Best outdoor meal you've ever had?
It had to be snook braai.
Yes.
Yes, that's great.
Yes. One item you never forget to pack.
Tongs.
Nice. Worst camp cooking disaster?
I think it was forgetting my tent.
Wow.
And then
Big hole.
so when that happened with the tent was most of my utensils.
No.
So it was roughing it.
Okay.
But you stayed. You pushed through.
Oh yes.
Okay.
My cooler box was full.
Listen, that's logic. That's solid logic used right there. All right, next question. Best camping spot?
Kleine Acre in Greyton.
All right, beautiful spot, Greyton. All right, bucket. Well, why not? Bucket list spot.
Okay, so in the Kruger National Park, they've got this 4x4 trail,
All right.
which is, it's not in any campsite, like it's wild camping.
All right.
It's like a couple of day trip.
Oh, that sounds good. Best time of the year to camp?
November to March.
November to March. And then lastly, your secret ingredient you swear by.
Oh, asking the secrets.
A lot of people are not going to like what I'm saying now, but MSG.
Okay, fantastic. Well, there we go. I think I learned a lot from the quickfire questions. Do you have... actually, let's take a trip to India. I was very fascinated to hear that you spent some time in India. I guess you worked as a chef there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
How long were you there for, Izaak?
For 10 years.
Wow. How many locals did you teach to braai?
We've done some adventure stuff. I've sort of bought a goat on the side of the road and did a makeshift spit and did it under the mango trees.
Nice.
I must say they weren't very impressed because I think they find our food bland.
Really?
So even the dry and stuff, they use a lot of spice and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of chili. So they don't like it so much. I must say that obviously like beef is a difficult topic over there.
Yes, it is.
And then they don't really do like lamb. It's all goat.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes it a bit tough. Are there any like flavors or cooking techniques that you've taken from India and sort of used it in a braai setting?
Oh, loads.
Man.
Like the kebab sort of stuff, the roadside kebabs it must be some of my favorite. And the sort of marinades stuff that they use. And even just the use of yogurt or sort of raw papaya that you grate over stuff to tenderize.
Wow.
There's so many techniques that they do that really inspired me.
Oh, man, that's
It
so
sounds
cool.
great.
Yes, it does.
And all of this mentioned now with goat meat, how does it compare to lamb, for instance?
Well, it's a lot leaner and it's definitely more gamier. Like it's sort of got a barnyardy taste.
Oh,
If
okay.
that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. Yeah. So here's a scenario. Chanel's at home and she doesn't know what to do. She went for some reason, got charcoal, and she's planning to only braai a worsie. And now you need to encourage her. Listen, Chanel, you need to go out and you need to do some outdoor cooking. What is your tip of encouragement, your final tip or word of encouragement to get Chanel out there and cooking more than a worsie?
You can do it.
Well, I think firstly she was in the wrong section because she got charcoal and not wood.
Yeah, okay.
But other than that, it's like there's so much meat that's so easy to braai, like steak and chops. And then you said that you can cook chicken,
Yes.
but chicken is much harder than cooking any of those. And then obviously a worsie is sort of a worsie. With other stuff you can play with flavors. Yeah, it's just much better.
But there's nothing worse than a tough choppy. So
A tough choppy.
I need some practice.
Okay. No, choppies are easy,
Yeah.
but we'll get there. Charcoal. It's a good way to get a divorce. No. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for the chat, Izaak. I really had a lot of fun. It's so interesting. I am legitimately inspired to take on a braai. That being said, it doesn't take a lot of inspiration for me to be excited for a braai, but I'm even more excited for the aspect of exploring and trying a few new things. And I think the biggest thing I'm taking from this episode personally is the family environment, the connection with other people you get when you prepare a feast on a campsite. Every person has their job. You're taking turns to do things. It's just a great way to connect with people. So thank you. This was fun.
Thank you guys for having me. It's really good talking to you. And I had a lot of fun as well.
Awesome.
Thanks, Izaak.
All the gear we spoke about in this episode, everything you need for that camping trip, literally outdoorwarehouse.co.za is easy as that. You'll find it there. Or just even better, go to your nearest branch.
Yes, they've got everyone there on the floor and they're so knowledgeable. So that's an even better experience.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. This is For Every Adventure, brought to you by Outdoor Warehouse. Find us on Spotify and on Apple. And look out for the next episode. Also, if this is the first time listening, we've got a bunch of other episodes also waiting for you. So climb in there.
Give us a follow.
Get all the outdoor gear and expert advice you need right here on the For Every Adventure podcast.